This is WFYI News Now. It's December 27th, and I'm Abriana Herron. On today's show, the Indiana Supreme Court establishes a new task force to strengthen guardianship oversight. A free online program teaches Indiana residents how to use a life-saving medication. And following the U.S. November election results, farmers are optimistic about their future despite the threats of tariffs.
The government stepped in with what were known as market facilitation program payments to help offset some of that negative impact on income.
Those stories coming up, but first. A Christmas Day mass shooting on the northeast side of Indianapolis left one woman dead and 4 others injured. Police said they detained one suspect who was also injured. IMPD found multiple people shot at a residence when they arrived on the scene in the early morning. 3 victims transported themselves to hospitals while EMS transported 2 more. IMPD said they believe a gathering of friends and family members turned violent. Police said the incident was not related to another fatal shooting nearby later that morning. If a judge decides an adult can't care for themselves, they can be placed under a court-appointed guardianship. However, advocates say the guardianship system in Indiana has had some issues. That's why the Indiana Supreme Court established a new task force to strengthen guardianship oversight throughout the state. WFYI's investigative reporter, Farah Anderson, has more.
Members of the Indiana Guardianship Oversight Task Force range from attorneys to judges to nonprofit leaders. Many say Indiana's guardianship code is outdated, which prevents meaningful oversight or accountability for courts and the guardians themselves. Other members say they want to focus on ensuring there's an off-ramp for people who may need a guardian at one point, but later can make decisions for themselves. The task force is required to provide a final report to the Indiana Supreme Court by December 1st, 2025. That report should include the task force's findings and recommendations on improving Indiana's guardianship system. I'm Farah Anderson.
Fentanyl overdose has been a leading cause of death for people aged 18 to 45 in recent years. Naloxone or Narcan is a drug that can reverse an overdose if administered promptly. Side Effects Public Media's Elizabeth Gabriel reports a free online program teaches Indiana residents how to use this life-saving medication.
Citizen Opioid Responders training takes roughly half an hour to complete. It covers topics like naloxone administration, scene safety, and Good Samaritan laws. Chris Henderson is a research associate for Prevention Insights at the Indiana University School of Public Health in Bloomington. They said the training has made strides in educating people about overdose prevention.
We found that people not only had increases in knowledge, but they also felt greater senses of efficacy, meaning that they felt more ready, willing, and able to intervene and administer naloxone.
Henderson hopes to see an uptick in training completion rates over the next few months. Elizabeth Gabriel, Side Effects Public Media.
And for our final story today, farmers are more optimistic about their future following the U.S. November election results, according to the latest Purdue Ag Economy Barometer. WFYI's Samantha Horton reports that's despite President-elect Donald Trump's threats of tariffs that in the past have hurt farmers.
Trump once again proposed new tariffs when he takes office that would target countries including Canada, Mexico, and China. During his first term as president, Trump put tariffs on imported steel coming from China. In response, China retaliated by taxing U.S. soybeans. The Ag Barometer is a monthly national survey of 400 agriculture producers. Its co-author James Mintert says while the November survey results show about 4 out of 10 farmers are concerned with the trade war, that wasn't reflected in views on farm income. Mintert says that could be because farmers don't believe a trade war would have much of a negative impact, or maybe they recall what happened during the previous trade war.
The government stepped in with what were known as market facilitation program payments to help offset some of that negative impact on income.
Indiana ranks 4th in the country for soybean production and 5th for corn. I'm Samantha Horton.
That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by Drew Daudelin and Zach Bundy, with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music, and I'm your host, Abriana Herron. If you like today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back on Monday.